vision of being a key player in the global metals market. His firm, the $1.8 billion Vedanta Resources, is listed on the London Stock Exchange. In his spare time, Anil Agarwal likes to watch Hindi movies, do a spot of yoga and a little cycling.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the chairman of the Vedanta Group, the founding chairman of the Vedanta Group, Anil Agarwal. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, sir. It's a pleasure to have you right here. Let me start with where your journey actually started. Today, you're the sort of anointed king of the non-ferrous market, metals market, but it didn't really start that way. Take us through how your story actually began from the scrap business to where you currently stand.
No, we are not king. We are servant of servants. So there is no question.
You're being modest now.
But it's a
I
great.
wouldn't mind being a servant of servants. And like that.
We should always have that frame of mind, and that's how we work. So it was a great journey. I live 20 years in Bihar, in Patna, and completed my. I didn't complete my graduation, but I studied up to the matriculate, and then moved to Bombay 76, and we started. My father has a business in Patna,
of aluminum conductors.
Aluminum conductors. So we came here, started looking the opportunity. 10 years was difficult. 76 to 86 was very difficult period. Any business you start, you fail. It's amazing. People don't understand. Nine business shutters I have shut down because it was not working. It was not working. And finally, we have gone into the business of jellyfill cable, and it was a great opportunity for
1986.
me.
So that was the big turnaround
Yes.
for you. That was the watershed year as far as Anil Agarwal was concerned.
Yes, yes. And I can share. We had the 350 square feet flat in at Pedder Road. My wife with my son will wait for 2 o'clock in the night till the time I come to have the meal. And today I go to my mansion, nobody is available. I have to keep the dog, somebody to welcome me.
How life changes, how life changes. So nobody wants to have dinner with you anymore.
No, they all are there, they love me, but the situation, things change.
But your first office, I believe, was what, an 8 by 10 room in Kalba Devi in Mumbai?
Yes, that was second Bhoyawada. We started there, 8 by 10, so it was nice. I was very pleased because in Bombay...
people couldn't stand in that room together.
I think you did a great intelligence, yes, but it's absolutely right. But that itself was a great pride. I had never seen Bombay. I had never seen double-decker bus. I have not seen the big building. I can't speak more than yes and no in English. So for me...
So how did you train yourself? I mean, how did you train yourself to deal with a big city, to deal with a culture shock, to even understand business and English for that matter? I mean, simple things like that.
Because I didn't understand, that's why I understand. So you throw yourself into the pool and you have to swim. What else you can do? And I have nothing, anything in the bags if somebody is watching me. There was nothing, no prestige, nothing big business or anything somebody is watching me.
So there was no expectations from you. And you had nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
So you could have taken the gamble, you could have taken the risk.
Absolutely.
And it all started off with a loan from Syndicate Bank, I believe. How large was that loan?
Oh, that's... it was started, the Shamsher Sterling was a cable company. It was belonging to Nepal Raja. I was ambitious to take that company, talk to Rana a couple of times, work out. It was a loan from the Syndicate Bank. So talk to Mr. Bhakta, who was on the board. He says, it's too big a company for you. What are you doing? I said, Mr. Bhakta Sahab, you have to get me this company. He helped me a little bit to put me in touch with the Syndicate Bank. KK Pai was there. We went to Manipal, spent 15-20 days just to get an appointment. And finally, we got a loan for 25 lakhs, which we have to pay to them only to buy that company.
Would you say your powers of persuasion have helped you in life? Because I was reading another story about how you actually went down to Australia and you were actually scouting around for a deal at that point in time, and you had got some gifts with you and you managed to actually convince the buyers with the gifts that you had taken. Is that a true story?
No, this is, see, we as an Indian, we have a background to take some handicraft, some gift That's our nature. You know, we don't see in the Western world that much. But we initially, now it's not required, but initially whenever we go abroad and whoever we have to meet, we have to carry some gift. Sometime I was so excited, I used to give the gift to the secretary. I thought he's the man. And then I said, oh my God, I made a mistake. So
And you didn't have another backup gift, did you?
so I have to ask them that I'll come back again tomorrow.
But what was that experience actually like for you? Because, you know, you were a small town boy in that sense who grew up in Bihar, then moved to Bombay, but to actually go abroad to sort of do deals with foreign partners in that sense, what was that first foreign experience for you like?
My first foreign experience was to set up a jelly-filled cable. Difficult. We got a license in '82 and then went to look for it. Was the last project. Then I met Mr. Fred Ginger, who was the United Technologies. They used to make jelly-filled cable. I could persuade them because I came to know that one of their plant has been shut down. They were not ready to sell. I somehow persuaded him, spent time in
That's
USA.
my point. That's exactly what I was talking about, the powers of persuasion. What is the mantra behind this success story in that sense? How do you manage to convince people to do things that they don't want to do?
I think my face shows some kind of honesty and something, and people will like to help me. Probably that happened at the when I was buying the jelly-filled cable plant, and that was a great starting point.
All right, on that note, we'll take our first commercial break, but we will return with more stories from Anil Agarwal on All for This One Moment.
Participate in the All for This One Moment contest. Answer this simple question. What is Anil Agarwal's favorite leisure activity? A. Watching Hindi movies. B. Playing golf. C. Reading. SMS LH moment space followed by your answer option A, B or C to 51818 and win yourself fabulous gift hampers from Lufthansa.
Welcome back. You're watching CNBC TV 18 and Lufthansa's All for This One Moment. I'm Shireen Ban. We've been talking to the founder of the Vedanta Group, Anil Agarwal. We're actually going to listen in to somebody who's actually observed and seen Anil Agarwal evolve as a business leader. Let's hear what Vallabh Bhansali has to say.
He wants to be a friend before a businessman. He's so passionate about his friends, particularly his childhood friends and old friends. And with them, he still is the same Deshi Anil as he was when he arrived into Bombay more than 35 years ago. His ability to poke fun at himself and at any situation in life is absolutely amazing. As a businessman, what strikes me tremendously and all the time is his ability to focus on what needs to be done and take risk.
There's a couple of things that I actually want to talk to you about from what Vallabh Bhansali has actually said, but let me start by that. So you moved to London, you're in the Mayfair mansion, but you're still a Desi Anil Agarwal at heart.
Absolutely. How can that change? Even the accent can't change because.
Have you made an effort to try and change it though?
Yeah, we change sometime. You know, we for our business, for our deal, we can do anything.
What's the biggest change that you've made in yourself?
I think to understand the perspective, I have to get something somehow, and that has changed. I will do it. That must suits me. That must suits to the society, and I look at things differently now as I used to look earlier.
So you're not as aggressive as you were, because everybody that we talk to says Anil Agarwal is perhaps one of the most aggressive corporate leaders that they've met.
I really don't believe that what I have, but I'm persuasive. If I like something, I would like to go on. And as I'm learning, I used to be very attached earlier to get the thing done. But now I think I can detach myself and look at things are happening, and that way it is happening better.
So you're keeping an emotional distance in that sense from the deals that you're actually doing, which is why it would perhaps be now easier for you to walk away from something like Asarco if it doesn't go in your favor and you don't want to get into a bidding war.
But it's the other way around. Who else are there to take care of these companies? You know, we have turned around companies after company anywhere in the world, and that's a clear-cut example for them also. They are looking at us, that how we can look after their environment, their people, this industry, make more investment. So I think it's the other way around. People like us in Africa, a lot of countries call us and say, look, the way you have turned around in Zambia, why don't you take over of our company?
Yeah.
You know, that's more big challenge than buying the company.
Vallabh Bhansali also said that, you know, you still keep in touch with friends from the past and so on and so forth. Do you actually get time? Are you still in touch with people who saw you growing up in Bihar and in your early days in Bombay? Because a lot has actually changed about your life and your lifestyle. And I understand that you believe very, very firmly that it's important for you to project a certain image. And so the cars, the Bentleys, the chauffeurs, and all of that are part of this carefully crafted image that you've developed over the years.
Because that requires some point of time. But originally, I think I still have the same friends, and I'm more comfortable with them. And I have I'm always all the time making new friends. But whoever was 20 years, 30 years old friend, we still continue and remain friends.
But why this need to actually project this image? Why is it important for you to have the best cars, to have the best, sort of staff and so on and so forth? Why do you gain a sense of confidence from this outward projection in that sense?
Yeah, you know, it's not required today. But I believe that when I moved to London, I have just moved with my 2 children. And stayed in the Hilton Hotel, and I was really looking forward, how do I take my second step to be in London. The whole thing was, London was the hub of the financial center, and I saw mining company raising billions of dollars here. So who will look at me? What people, so I have to give, and I says, look, I'm a big man, so I have to have a mansion, I have to have a Bentley car, I have to have a white-skinned driver. So these things help to start with. Now it's not necessary. I don't think I have anything I possess and it's required. Because personally, I don't enjoy those things. But probably at that point of time, to kickstart, it was necessary, I think.
So is it important to you when you sort of move on the Forbes list of the richest men in the world from 160th position to the 465th position? Does that make a difference to you? Does it bother you or it doesn't?
For me, it's completely immaterial. Personally, I would not like to be in that list. Never. I'd like to be a common man on the street and enjoy my life.
Be real. Common man driving around in a Bentley, Mr. Agarwal. How often does that happen?
What Bentley costs? You know, what Bentley costs? There are so many beautiful other things to do in the life.
Okay, you know, you talked about your London experience and how London was really important for you. I believe there's a very interesting story of how you got your plans actually started as far as your listing was concerned in London. You made a cold call to Brian Gilbertson, the man who actually engineered the BHP Billiton deal. Was that true? You just called him up and said, can you help me?
Yeah, sure. Brian, I read about he being the CEO and chairman of BHP, largest company, third largest company of the world, and I called him and said that I believe that you are going to come off from BHP. This is Anil Agarwal. I would like to see you, and he said, of course, please come over. I spent time and I persuaded him to form this company and to be the chairman of this company, and I persuaded him to come with me to India to look at my asset, and he
I
was
think
amazed.
what did the trick was that he actually asked you what your hobbies were, and he said his hobby was cycling, and you said, yes, absolutely, I completely agree, because that's your hobby as well, and you cycled all the way from London to Oxford, is that right?
Yes, that was my, I never thought I can do it, but it's amazing when he gave me this challenge, said, will you come, I cycle, and I said, I cycle too. And he says, will you, how much you can cycle? I said, whatever you cycle, I'll cycle. So he says, all right, we'll go to Oxford. And I somehow that's completed it. It was a really, really tough day.
On that note, it's time for us to take a quick commercial break. But when we return, another surprise, someone who Anil Agarwal has known for a very, very long time is going to spill some beans on him. That and more coming up for you after this short break.
Participate in the All for This One Moment contest. Answer this simple question. What is Anil Agarwal's favorite leisure activity? A. Watching Hindi movies. B. Playing golf. C. Reading. SMS LH moment space followed by your answer option A, B or C to 51818 and win yourself fabulous gift hampers from Lufthansa.
Welcome back. You're watching CNBC TV 18 and Lufthansa's All for This One Moment. We're in conversation with Anil Agarwal of the Vedanta Group, and it's time now for us to surprise him with someone who's actually known him for many, many years and has seen him evolve not just as a business personality but also as an individual. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Shishir Kumar. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, right here. Okay, so you working in the Bombay hospital, how long have you actually known him?
Anil, to be precise, about 38 years.
38 years.
That's right,
And what
yes.
was your first impression of him?
Oh, those were very youthful days. Anil is younger to me by about 5 years. And we were friends who loved to go out in the evenings. I had just finished medical school and Anil was into business and to going to college as well. And in the evenings we'd get together and we came from a small place called Patna. We'd get together in the evenings and Anil would be on his small scooter and of course during the day it was,
Dr. was the only one who has to have drive the car in among our circle.
So while he was in a car, you were on a scooter, is it?
Today he has the jet and
I know.
but things have not changed for him. Things
No?
have not at all.
Anil
Not at-
Agarwal hasn't changed
Oh,
in
not
spite of the fact that he's now moving around his own private jet.
that doesn't make a difference at all.
Just everybody that we've spoken to has always said that he had that fire, he had that sort of drive, and he was always very ambitious. But did you spot that fire and spark in him when you were growing up?
We were friends. Never would one dream of billions because we didn't know how many zeros were there to a billion. But we certainly knew that he had the zest, he had the intentions, he had the desire, he had the focus. I'm always teased by my children and my wife that if there's anybody who can pull me to a movie is Anil. And it's an order. It's a fatwa, he says. Doctor, I'm coming. Kiranji, his wife, very loving, will say, no, Shishir Bhaiya, I'm coming and we're going to a movie. Which movie, I don't know. And I remember once, this was many years ago, I think in the evening, in a night show it was, and he said, we're going for a movie. And I said, have you got the tickets? He said, yes. His driver said he's got the tickets. So went into the hall, the show had already started. We're never on time. With Anil, in cinema halls, you're never on time.
Yeah.
With something or the other, some telephone conversations. And I remember the movie, and we went on and on and on, went to the hall. And I don't know if you like it or not, we sat on the first row. On the first row of a theatre, because that's the only seat was available, and the driver was told by the chap who was giving the tickets that those are very good seats. So right in front, we were looking at the screen, and I said, Anil, before it's intermission, let's get out of here. It won't be nice to see.
Did he agree to, or did he sit through the movie?
It didn't matter to him.
It didn't matter?
It
But
didn't matter.
Dr. Saab says that, look, I'm in a profession, don't let me be here. Interval people will see me sitting in the front row. It's impossible.
But it didn't bother you. Anil
I
Agarwal
was
sitting in the
okay.
front row of a movie theatre didn't bother you at all.
I was fine. Except I have to look at it like this.
But you know, we've seen the sort of business persona. We've seen what he is like when he's actually doing deals, how he's dealing with competition, the ambitious targets that he actually has set out for himself. Take us through the side that we don't know about him.
A fun-loving person who enjoys with his friends, straightforward, honest. You can never put a gun on his temple and make him say yes. He'll do what he feels is right. Of late, there has been a dramatic change in him, which I like to definitely compliment about him, that Dr. Saab, he never calls me Shishir, though we are very intimate friends. And he said, Dr. Saab, I want to give it back to society. And there's one thing which I have said has transformed his persona, his thought process, whether it's in the field of education, he's setting up the Vedanta University, or the big cancer hospital is putting up. So this amazed me a lot. From the age of 44, somebody who is so conscientious that I have to give it back to society.
You know, this is something that you've also spoken about, and now this is your big passion really, is what you want to do in the field of education. You want to create India's answer to Stanford. Are you modeling yourself now on the American business philanthropists like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett?
I really don't know about the people, those are great people, but I'm definitely looking India as one of the American model. America like is a research oriented, innovative, and it has all came because of their universities. So I always thought India has the same potential, and we have to have that scale, research and development, innovative university, and that scale, and that's how we thought we should have a education city, and that's how we are building up Vedanta University.
But you've had to face several regulatory challenges. You've had to face, obstacles from various state governments and so on and so forth, not just as far as your education initiative is concerned, but, on many other matters. How have you dealt with?
I always say that India has a 25% population of the world or 20% population of the world. I must have my share of at least 10% of producing this metal. I am producing less than 1%. How that is possible? We are not going to branded remain as a poor. There will always be a challenge. My father always take me through how the America was built. He says initial days when America was being built, the same problem used to come.
Yeah.
And this problem is a state of mind. As long as you are doing right, keep pursuing it.
But what has been your weakest moment? What has been the moment that has weighed you down the most, that has impacted you personally as well as professionally the most? Because there's been plenty of criticism that's come your way as well.
Yeah, but see, when you receive some court notice, when you receive some government notice, so for a moment you become a little weak. But it takes only 1 minute. You come back to your mind and say, am I doing anything wrong? And you say, no, it's absolutely right. We are Indian. We have to take this country forward. And I thought over it. What I did is right, and move forward. And that's weakness become the strength.
Well, Dr. Saab, I'm taking the liberty of calling you that. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, sir.
You're beautiful.